First, I will show you an example of an online article to explain how to present theory in an English literature research paper. The article Exploitation, a Marxist analysis of The Great Gatsby applies Karl Marx's theory to the novel The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. In the introduction, the authors introduce the novel as a depiction of the 1920s American society and explain that the text shows class inequality, wealth, and the pursuit of the American dream. They describe characters who desire wealth and social position and state that the novel also reveals how the bourgeoisie exploit the proletariat. The authors then connect the topic to the research objective, which is to study class disparities that lead to exploitation and manipulation. The research question asks how bourgeoisies manipulate authorities and exploit the proletariats in the novel. In the significance of the study, the authors explain that the research examines class difference and exploitation from a Marxist perspective and reveals how material possession determines social worth. In the literature review, the article summarizes earlier studies on the novel such as research on the American dream, feminism, and materialism. The authors state that previous studies did not fully examine class manipulation and exploitation, which creates a gap for their research. In the theoretical framework, they clearly define Marxism as a social, political, and economic theory about conflict between capitalists and workers and explain concepts such as exploitation, surplus value, and class struggle. In the methodology, the authors state that they use textual analysis to examine the novel through a Marxist lens. In the analysis section, they apply the theory to characters and events, arguing that class shapes identity and that wealth allows the elite to manipulate institutions and authority. They support the argument with textual evidence such as Gatsby's belief that money can recreate the past and his ability to avoid punishment through influence. Finally, in the findings and conclusion, the authors argue that the bourgeoisie exploit the lower class and manipulate authority, which creates inequality in wealth, status, and power. Now, I will explain step-by-step process. Presenting theories in English literature research means using them as tools to interpret texts, reveal hidden meanings, and connect your analysis to broader scholarly discussions. The theory guides your reading, shapes your methods, and strengthens your argument. Step 1. Choose your theory. Before starting your research, decide which theory fits your topic. A theory acts as a lens through which you see and interpret the text. Consider what ideas the theory focuses on, its assumptions about society or human behavior, and whether it can answer your research question. Choosing the right theory ensures your analysis is focused, coherent, and meaningful. For example, if your topic is about how power and wealth affect society, you could choose Marxist theory by Karl Marx. If your topic is about characters' hidden fears, desires, or motivations, you could use psychoanalytic theory by Sigmund Freud. If your research is about how colonization or cultural oppression shapes identity, post-colonial theory by Edward Said would be suitable. For a topic on language, meaning, and how texts create reality, structuralist theory by Ferdinand de Saussure can guide your study. If you are interested in gender, sexuality, or identity beyond just women, queer theory by Judith Butler can be applied. If your topic is about how women are treated in society, you could choose feminist theory by Simone de Beauvoir. This theory focuses on gender roles, inequality, and social expectations. It allows you to see how characters' choices are shaped by the societal pressures around them. Step 2. Select your text and define the topic. When choosing a text for your research, first understand your theory clearly, know its main ideas, key concepts, and what it focuses on. For example, Marxist theory looks at class, wealth, and power. Psychoanalytic theory focuses on the unconscious, desires, and internal conflicts. Post-colonial theory examines culture, identity, and colonization. Next, pick a text that has elements that can be analyzed using that theory, such as characters, conflicts, themes, symbols, or social settings. Notice things like how characters act, their relationships, the choices they make, and how the story reflects larger social or psychological issues. Also consider what the story reveals about society, culture, or human behavior, and how it connects to the theory's ideas. Your topic should clearly explain the issue you want to study and why this text is a good fit, showing which parts of the text you will focus on and how the theory will guide your interpretation. For example, using Marxist theory, The Great Gatsby can be studied for wealth, class, and social inequality, with psychoanalytic theory, crime and punishment can be analyzed for guilt, dreams, and inner conflict. With post-colonial theory, things fall apart can be examined for cultural change, colonization, and identity struggles. For the feminist theory, you can choose three-act play like A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. Focus your topic on how societal expectations restrict women's freedom and identity. Feminist theory helps examine how these restrictions affect Nora, the protagonist, and reveal broader patterns of gender inequality in society. Step 3. Introduce the theory in the paper. Introduce the theory early in the introduction. Explain why it is relevant to your research. Define its main concepts so readers understand the lens you are using. This sets the stage for your argument and shows the importance of your theoretical perspective. In the introduction, state, this study uses feminist theory to analyze A Doll's House because it examines how gender norms shape women's identities and decisions. Concepts such as patriarchy, gender roles, and female agency guide this analysis. Step 4. Explain the theory in the literature review. The literature review is where you show your understanding of the theory and how it has been applied in previous research. Include the following elements: origin of the theory, mention who developed it and when, explain the historical and intellectual context of the theory, key concepts and terminology, define central terms of theory clearly, explain how these terms guide interpretation of texts like play, novel or poems, highlight any debates or variations within the theory, major thinkers and scholars, mention foundational theorists and their contributions, include modern scholars who expanded or critique the theory, applications in literature, summarize how scholars have used the theory in literary analysis, identify specific genres, themes, or authors studied using the theory. You can analyze previous similar studies related to your topic like Moi, 1985, analyzed women's roles in Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte using feminist theory, arguing that Jane resists societal control to assert her identity. Showalter, 1977, studied The Awakening by Kate Chopin, claiming that Edna's rebellion reflects the constraints imposed by patriarchy. Gaps or opportunities: point out areas where the theory has not been applied or where previous studies are limited. Show how your research will add new insights. You can state that few studies examine women's identity and rebellion in 19th-century plays through the lens of contemporary feminist issues, which your paper will explore. Connection to your research question: explain why this theory is suitable for your chosen text and topic. Show how it will help you analyze specific themes, characters, or societal issues. Scholarly conversation: cite studies in peer-reviewed journals or books, compare different scholars' approaches and highlight consensus or disagreement. Step 5. Use the theory to guide methodology. In literary research, theories usually function as methodologies because they provide the intellectual perspective for reading and questioning the text. A researcher must clearly state how the chosen theory becomes the methodological lens of the study. This means explaining how the theory guides the interpretation of themes, characters, power relations, ideology, and language in chosen text like play or novel. Methods are the specific analytical techniques used to apply that methodology. These may include close textual reading, discourse analysis, character analysis, narrative analysis, thematic analysis, or ideological critique. The researcher should explain which methods will be used and why they are suitable for the theory and the chosen text. The methodology section therefore shows how theoretical concepts will guide the practical analysis of scenes, symbols, conflicts, and narrative patterns within the literary work. Example: methodology. Feminist theory used as a framework to examine patriarchal power structures in the play A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. Methods: close textual reading of Nora's dialogue to identify language that reflects dependence and restriction. Character analysis of Nora and Torvald to examine power hierarchy in marriage. Discourse analysis of conversations about money, morality, and obedience to reveal gender expectations in society. Thematic analysis of freedom, marriage, and identity to show how patriarchal norms shape Nora's choices and her final decision to leave the household. Step 6. Apply the theory in the analysis. In this step you apply the theory directly to the text to develop clear arguments. Do not only summarize the story. Focus on explaining why events happen and what they reveal about society, power, or ideology according to the theory. Start each paragraph with a clear analytical claim based on the theory. Then support that claim with textual evidence from the text such as dialogue, narration, symbols, or character actions. After presenting the evidence, interpret it using key theoretical concepts. Finally, connect the interpretation to your overall research argument. You can strengthen your analysis by using specific analytical methods. Close reading means examining small sections of the text very carefully. Focus on word choice, metaphors, tone, and repeated phrases. Explain how these linguistic details support the theoretical idea. Discourse analysis studies how language expresses power relations, ideology, and social norms. Examine how characters speak, who has authority in conversations, and how language reflects social hierarchy. Thematic analysis identifies repeated ideas or patterns across the novel. Trace how a theme appears in different scenes and explain how the theory helps interpret that pattern. These methods help transform textual details into strong theoretical arguments. Example of A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. A close reading of Torvald's language toward Nora can reveal patriarchal attitudes. Words like little skylark and little squirrel appear affectionate but reduce Nora to a childlike figure. Feminist theory interprets this language as a sign of patriarchal authority and female infantilization. Through discourse analysis, examine how Torvald dominates conversations about money and decision-making. His speech shows control over economic power in the household, reflecting traditional gender roles. Through thematic analysis, trace the theme of female independence across the play. Early scenes show Nora obeying social expectations, but later scenes reveal growing awareness of oppression. The final decision to leave represents resistance to patriarchal control. Step 7. Engage with existing scholarship. In this step you place your argument within the current academic discussion. Review peer-reviewed journal articles, books, and critical essays related to the text and the theory. Start by summarizing the main claims, theoretical frameworks, and methods used by other scholars. Mention whether they use feminist criticism, historical analysis, ideological critique, or other approaches. After presenting these perspectives, explain how your interpretation relates to them. You should clearly show whether your argument supports, extends, or challenges earlier research. Identify areas where scholars agree and where they disagree. This comparison demonstrates that your research contributes to the scholarly conversation rather than repeating current interpretations. Example of A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. Some critics interpret Nora's departure mainly as a personal emotional reaction to her marriage problems. When discussing this scholarship, briefly present their argument and the method they use, such as psychological analysis. Then explain your different perspective using feminist theory. Through close reading of Torvald's language and discourse analysis of their conversations, you can argue that Nora's struggle reflects broader patriarchal control and gender inequality in society. Other feminist scholars interpret Nora as a symbol of women's resistance to social restrictions. By connecting your thematic analysis of independence and autonomy with their interpretations, you can show that your research strengthens this feminist reading. This comparison proves that your study contributes new insight while engaging directly with previous scholarly debates about gender and power in literature. Step 8. Conclude by reinforcing the theory's role. In the conclusion, summarize how the theory helped you interpret the text and understand the research problem. Highlight insights gained and broader implications for literature and society.